Hey everyone, Clay here. Just wanted to let you know I've got a new comic book out right now from Comixology Originals and Amazon. It's called Hardstyle Juice. It's a professional wrestling murder mystery, so if you're into pro wrestling and comics and all that good stuff, you're going to want to check it out. And it's free to read if you have Amazon Prime. It's a digital-only comic. If you want to check it out, head over to hardstylejuice.com, and that'll direct you right to the page where you can check it out. That's hardstylejuice.com. Thanks, guys. Hello. Welcome again to the BATTASS Podcast, the Batman the Animated Series show podcast, where we talk about Batman the Animated Series, or in this case, Batman Beyond. My name is Clay McCormack, and with me as always is Sean Murphy. How you doing, Sean?
So when Zorro, Man of the Dead came out, I was worried that Danny Trejo would get a copy, see that his name and likeness were used, and be really pissed off. I'm happy to report that he did see it and he laughed and is fine with it.
Oh, okay,
so
good.
That makes me happy.
Yeah, we had a legal fund going for you just in case, but we can give that money to somebody else now. That's good.
So I've seen him behind in the green room at shows. I didn't know how old he was. I know we talked about him in a podcast or two ago. But when I wrote the script, I always was going to change the name Trejo before it went to publishing. And the likeness is the likeness, so if people were paying attention, great. If not, but legally I was always like, I don't know if I can use his name, and I just forgot to change it, and the publisher didn't seem to notice or care. So it came out and I was like, I don't know, a guy from prison taking his likeness without paying. I don't know how it could go either way with him, So we were in Dallas, and a reader came up and he's like, hey man, I love that Danny Trejo is in the book. And I'm like careful to say, like, he's not in the book. It's just a guy that happens to be named Trejo, and blah, 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 blah. Like the legal response.
Just happens to be named Trejo. Just happens to look exactly like him.
Well, just like in Desperado, Trejo's character is named Trejo.
That's Heat.
Oh, shit, you're right.
Yeah.
Sorry, thank you for correcting me. I thought it was Desperado. Anyway, so this guy goes, yeah, I actually talked to Danny about it. And I'm like, uh-oh. He goes, no. I went up and I showed him and asked him if he knew. He said he didn't know, but he looked at it. He laughed. He thought it was really cool, and he didn't seem to care. In fact, I think he was like, complimented. So I was like, okay, good. Like, I don't want, whatever Mexican gang that Danny used to be part of coming after me.
Well, just make sure you spend a lot of money at the Trejo's Tacos next time you're in California.
Yeah, I think I got to do that just to give some of this back.
Yeah. But we are talking about Season 3 of Batman Beyond. But before we get into the 2 episodes, Out of the Past and Speak No Evil, Sean, did you see the clip from Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 3 that features the last performance of Kevin Conroy as Batman?
No.
Yeah, they've been doing this Crisis on Infinite Earths 3-part animated movie. And part of Crisis, obviously, if you're familiar with Crisis out there, is the destruction of the multiverse. And so they've been kind of wrapping up, I assume what they were doing, I haven't watched the whole thing yet, I assume what they're doing is wrapping up the animated universe up to this point, because the new stuff is all going to be in continuity with the movies, yada, yada, yada. And one of the beats that they give you is as the world is being destroyed, they cut to Batman and the Joker fighting on a rooftop, and it's the classic Batman the Animated Series animation, Batman and Joker.
Oh, can I look this up on YouTube?
Yeah.
I'll look it up later, but I'm glad I can.
Well, look it up right now if you want. I can just cut it out. I can trim it down.
All right, hold on.
easy. I'm flattered. The end of the world, and you want to spend it with me? I didn't know you cared.
I care, Joker. About Gotham. About justice. And if it has to end, at least I go out like this. Being Batman.
His last move was to punch Joker in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I think that's about as
It's good of
about as good of an end for him as I think you could possibly give him.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially for a voice actor. I'd rather see him go out that way than doing a live action thing.
Yeah, I know people were concerned and getting all bunched up about. I think that Suicide Squad game that came out has him playing Batman, and people were bummed out that was going to be the last one because it's kind of a weird alternate universe or whatever. So it's nice. It's nice that this came out and gives him a proper send off. I will say
that's fair.
It's really, I found it to be very bittersweet because I think it's a very cool final moment, but the context of the moment is literally watching the Batman animated series universe get wiped from the face of the universe.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, it's the way to go out, but I assume that means this is not that they were ever going to do any more without Conroy anyway, but just it's sort of like watching the whole universe get destroyed is a little bit depressing, but
yeah, I guess with comic book continuity, with no consequences, they bring shit back all the time. So that stuff doesn't tend to faze me.
Yeah.
It is cool to see the original TAS animation, even though it's kind of clunky and computerized.
Yeah.
I'm sure they had like a few weeks to do this, and that was it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's cool because it definitely has the look, but it definitely also has that newer kind of, like you're saying, kind of computery movement to it. That's not quite as fluid as it used to be. Yeah.
It's a little Fairly Odd Parents, but yeah, the single shot, like not in motion, you probably wouldn't be able to tell.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's the end of.
Wait, so is that Mark Hamill's last time as the Joker too?
I believe so. Yeah, I don't think he's going to do it anymore without Conroy.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, but that I guess is the end of the animated series universe, but not the end of Batman Beyond. We are here today to talk about 2 episodes, one called Out of the Past and one called Speak No Evil. So we'll take a quick break and we'll come back and talk about Out of the Past.
I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman. 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 There is a song the good folks sing.
Song the good folks sing.
Batman. About a hero on the wing.
Hero on the wing.
Batman. I am Gotham's darkest night, the villain's starkest fright. Turn on the signal light for Batman. Batman.
Okay, Out of the Past, written by Paul Dini, directed by James Tucker. And in this one, Bruce Wayne's former love, Talia, returns on his birthday to offer him the chance to be eternally young. However, Bruce and Terry discover a dark secret. Decades ago, after Talia sided with Bruce against her father, Ra's al Ghul, don't want to pronounce it incorrectly because they bring it up so much in the episode. Ra's al Ghul was left mortally wounded beyond the Lazarus Pit's ability to heal him. In order to save himself, Ra's al Ghul sacrificed his daughter by using a computer to imprint his thoughts and memories into Talia's body, erasing her consciousness and replacing it with his own. After improving the computer, Ra's al Ghul decides that it is time to move into a new body, Bruce Wayne's. This is a much longer summary than the summary for the next episode, but we can get to that when we get there. Yeah.
I have never seen this episode.
I don't think I'd ever seen it either.
Yeah, I thought I saw them all. I must have skipped both of these somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Having Paul Dini back, fuck yeah, and what a difference it makes.
Yeah.
Usually I kind of fast forward through the fight scenes just to get through these episodes. But with this one, I was like, there's nothing to fast forward to. You have to watch all of it.
Yeah.
And that's the strength of a Dini script. So, yeah, I'm going 5 all the way, baby. I mean,
yeah,
fuck yeah, 5. And it's a 4. It's a TAS 4, but it's a beyond 5.
Okay, yes, I would probably agree with that, because I still think that this, while this is probably the best one we've seen,
yep,
I do still think it suffers from a little bit of Batman Beyond syndrome, where it feels like it's missing an act in the middle.
Oh my god, yeah.
Where it just feels like Bruce needs to have a little bit of time being a young guy before obviously he finds out the truth. Obviously it's not the same kind of story as that usually goes, because usually it's like, oh, he becomes young, then he gets to experience being young, and then he decides that it's not the right thing to do. But this one, obviously the turn involves Talia. So I guess depends how you want to look at it, but I still feel like Bruce needed to have a little bit more of a seduction into being young again, because he does it all so begrudgingly in this that it never feels like he like wants to be there.
Again, this should have been a 2-parter. There's enough meat on the bone here. They could have stretched some stuff out and had him put on the old Batman costume. And I thought at the end he was going to put on the cowl and go out with Terry for 1 week's worth of crime fighting.
I was kind of hoping they would do that too. Because if you split it into a 2-parter, you could end with him becoming young again, and then pick it up in the next episode with, maybe the two of them on patrol or something. I don't know.
Yeah, like have him go on. Bruce is excited to be young again, and then Terry is like, now there can't be 2 Batmans, so Terry isn't so sure what his place is anymore, and then Bruce starts having side effects and whatever. You have to reveal that he's being played, and this is whatever. Like you can see how that would unravel. Yeah,
definitely. Especially because they set it up that they set it up to facilitate everything going back to normal at the end, but they set up that he has to do this, go into the Lazarus pit multiple times. So you could have this thing where the first time he's begrudgingly going in, and then when it comes to the second one, he's like, oh shit, I actually like this. And so now he's making a decision as to whether or not he is actively going to choose to do this, because he wants to, instead of because he feels like he has to,
Yeah, or an episode where Terry gets wounded really, really badly, and the city needs Batman. So Bruce has no choice but to go into the egg and get young for a week to kick some ass. There's all kinds of stuff you can do. But again, this show is great at not doing the cool thing.
Yeah, it's so tough because, again, I know we've said this a million times, but it never really felt like the original show was hamstrung like this. As far as the time, and this show has, like you were saying, there's usually a lot of fights in it, and they usually take a lot of time. And this one, while the fights were a lot more necessary for the plot than they usually are, I still found myself thinking, like, if we lost one of these fight scenes, could we have done more stuff with young Bruce or something? Or I don't know.
Yeah.
Fun bit of trivia on this episode too is the big guard with the English accent. I kept trying to. I was like, I know that voice, but I can't place who it is. It's Mark Hamill.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I didn't catch that at all.
Yeah.
It is. What did you think about the opening scene at the theater?
Oh, loved it. I love the musical. Yeah.
My wife is in the room, and she loves musical theater. She's in Oklahoma right now.
The play, watch these. The play, not the state.
So, yeah. No, it's funny. I keep doing that. So it comes. Usually, she'll just have her face in a book while I'm watching these, and she actually looked up. She's like, "Ooh, finally an episode for me!" I'm like, "Oh man, of course this is the one that comes on." And I definitely think Conroy was voicing Batman because Conroy can sing, and he's Juilliard. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess he was uncredited as that Batman, but that is him.
Oh yeah, bullshit. That's obviously him, and I'm glad that it was. Yeah, and what was the song? It really was actually pretty catchy. The villains
are a cowardly, superstitious lot.
Yeah. It's such a Paul Dini vibe. I forget how much he likes so over the top theatrics. You know.
Well, that's a line taken directly from the comics. In one of Batman's, well, I may as well just look it up and tell you what the exact thing is instead of me trying to struggle over it. The opening lyrics to the second song in the musical that Terry takes Bruce to are taken from Detective Comics number 33 story Legend the Batman and How He Came to Be, which is the first version of the Batman's origin from November 1939. Deciding that he needs a disguise in order to fight crime, Bruce Wayne reasons that criminals are a superstitious, cowardly lot.
Oh, all right. That's even better then.
Yeah, it's a nice bit of tie-in.
Yeah.
I also really liked when Terry says this is totally schway and he says it's schwarbage.
Yeah. I laughed at that, and my wife's like, "What does that mean?" I'm like, "Nothing. You can't just cold start, watch the show, and think you're part of the club and not do your proper research."
Always, you got to gatekeep your wife out of this show. She's not going to put in the time.
I've had to update her knowledge of Batman to get her to write White Knight. So I had to inject knowledge, and it was sort of. The whole phrase of fake fangirl was kind of spinning around in my head, and the possible accusation she was going to get, but she never did. But yeah, I hate to gatekeep, but here we are.
So yeah, what did you think of the whole plot of this? Where did you see the reveal coming of Talia being this weird brain swapped version of Ra's al Ghul?
No, I thought it was going to be head in a jar.
Oh,
or, AI on a computer that was going to, be injected into Bruce. Having her dad inhabit her body, this would not get approved today,
Yeah. I was thinking that not only for the basic plot, but when Terry says that line where he says, "You're creeping me out," and then Bruce goes, she kissed me.
Yeah. No, that's great. Or when she hits Bruce and he's like, "You hit like a girl."
Yeah.
That's a line they probably wouldn't allow anymore. The creep factor is definitely there, but they obviously drew attention to it and made fun of it, so it works. But I don't imagine this passing.
It's also not exactly like Ra's al Ghul discovered his inner woman and decided to transition. He forcibly put his brain into his daughter's body. So,
but yeah, having a man inhabit his daughter, there's just so many Freudian triggers going on. I don't know.
It reminds me actually of one of my favorite H.P. Lovecraft stories, which is The Thing on the Doorstep, which is about this person who has discovered how to live forever by basically jumping their mind, swapping minds with other people. And so the whole story is about this guy who gets married to this woman, then he realizes that half the time this woman has the brain of her evil father.
Oh,
it's a pretty cool story. But it adds it's
always a bummer when you get married and you find that out after.
Oh yeah, it's horrible. But yeah, it adds a really it's a bigger swing than I thought this show was going to take. Because what you're saying, like putting his head in a jar, and like the idea that this is all a ruse to get, Ra's al Ghul reincarnated as Batman or whatever, makes perfect sense for the show. But going so far as to literally have him inhabiting the body of his daughter, that's a pretty big swing.
Yeah, no, and it works. Yeah. No, I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
I didn't think Head in the Jar would be, because that's so Futurama and so overdone. I thought AI on a computer program.
Oh, that too. Yep, that would have worked.
Max Headroom or whatever.
Yeah. Also, you would think that there would be something that they would. I feel like the other more common way that they would do this is there would be some way to save Talia, whether or not like in Return of the Joker, how Tim has the brain implant thing, and once they get that off of him, he doesn't turn into the Joker anymore. He's just Tim Drake again. I figured, you'd think they would do something like that, where Ra's al Ghul is controlling Talia, but it's something that can be disengaged and she can be saved from. This one, it's like, nope, Talia is dead. She's gone. It's Ra's al Ghul's brain inside her head, and then she gets crushed by an exploding brain machine.
I thought that he set her consciousness aside. I didn't know that he had wiped her out completely. Like, he basically killed her and took her body.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty dark. But if they had the idea that Bruce, if he could still save her somehow, and then there was still an explosion and he couldn't save her, that would sort of... See, I think that was the one thing that bummed me out, was the very end where he said, "Goodbye, my love." It's like, I don't know, man. I think you got to let this one go. Looking at old photos of you guys having dinner after this girl like stabbed you in the back multiple times, gave her life up just so you could try. Oh, she wanted you to give your body to her father. Dude, come on. I don't know what you think is in this relationship, but I think you're better off with Catwoman.
Well, that wasn't her, though. That was Ra's who was doing all that stuff.
But I guess I assumed that when she agreed to this plan, she knew what was going to happen to Bruce.
Oh, I mean, who's to say she agreed to the plan? I mean, it sounds like he did it by force.
Oh, okay. All right, well, then that does make the ending make more sense then. Okay, I retract what I said.
I will say, though, when do you think Bruce Wayne and Talia al Ghul found time to A, go to dinner, and B, get a photo taken of themselves? Talia al Ghul does not exactly seem like a let's go downtown to the bistro type of person.
It's kind of not a League of Assassins type of thing.
No, not so much.
Yeah, getting your photo. I mean, I assumed it was some reporter and front page news, whatever. But yeah, whatever. Creative liberty.
Yeah.
Did you think? Fuck! I forgot what I was going to say.
Well,
I'll think of it later.
What I was going to say is, thank you for bringing the pictures up, because this also is another. I'm really going to fight them on this, even though it seems to be the way they want to take this. It's another indication that apparently Bruce and Barbara had some sort of romantic relationship, which just skeeves the shit out of me. I really don't like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to know when that started. You know, was it just jokes in comic book shops? Like, well, Barbara is young and attractive, and Bruce is a red-blooded male. Why wouldn't he do that? Mm-hmm. You know, sort of hand-waving the whole father figure, younger sister. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The relationship they have. Or daughter figure, I should say. Yeah, I think they just forced it because they thought it would be hot, but I don't think it's ever really gone down well, at least not for you and me.
Yeah, it's just it's just not something, not to sound like a nerd any more than we already do, but I just don't think that's something Batman would do. You know, like having any relationship at all is a huge stretch for him. So to have a relationship with one of his, for lack of a better term, subordinates, I don't think so.
Right. Like him falling for Catwoman or Talia makes sense because he's sort of handicapping himself. He knows it could never be a real relationship, so that's why he's okay with it.
And also, both of them are kind of more on his level, you know?
Right. Yeah, there's more common there, too. And there's no incestuous eyebrow raising.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also like doing that would be such a betrayal to Gordon as well. I mean, he's already betraying Gordon
and
by
Dick.
Allowing Barbara to do this.
They make it pretty clear in the show that Barbara and Dick have been in a relationship.
Yeah. Dick got cucked by Batman.
Yeah, maybe that's the real reason he left. I don't know.
You're right. There's like 4 really solid reasons why Bruce would never do that.
Yeah, I don't buy it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
We do get a picture of Catwoman, which is to date the only time we've seen Catwoman in Batman Beyond.
Yeah.
Also, is one of them Lois Lane?
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I don't know.
I think the second one they show is Lois Lane, which I guess technically, did they date?
That would be correct. That's the universe. Yeah, in the Superman series, World's Finest, Bruce and Lois Lane dated, and it made Clark jealous.
Man, Batman out there.
You don't remember that?
Cucking everybody.
Did we not? We must have covered that.
I think
World's
we did.
Finest.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. I just assumed he was doing it as a way to get under Clark's skin and not have a picture of her in his database that he looks at longingly sometimes.
Yeah. No, man, you loved that 4-parter. You talked about how much you loved Timothy Dalton being the voice actor.
Yeah, I know. It's such a shame that he's dead now.
Rest his soul.
I like
one day it's not going to be funny because he's going to die for real, and then we're going to have to do a podcast, and you're going to have to say like, "Oh, no, I feel shitty."
We'll just it'll just be a supercut of all the times that we mentioned that he was dead.
On Top Gear, there's this ongoing joke where one of the cast members, Richard Hammond, always forgets that David Attenborough is still alive, so he'll start narrating some things they're seeing in the wild because they're driving cars through the jungle or whatever, and there's nature around, and they'll start talking about what would Attenborough say right now, and he's still alive now. So I wonder one day that joke's not going to age very well.
I wonder if he's confusing him with Richard Attenborough,
right? The brother,
yeah. Who is, I assume, he's dead. He died like about 10 years ago.
I love that you're so afraid now to claim someone died.
I did look it up before I said it, just to make sure. I also had to look it up to make sure they were two different people and that I wasn't just making up a name in my head. But
yeah.
Anyway, I like that the design of the brain machine has a couple little like Kirby flares, like those jagged lines that go into the circles on the pod thing.
Yeah,
it's always nice to keep the Kirby influence alive. Yeah, I think overall I thought this was a really good one. Unfortunately, like we said, I think there's more stuff in there they could have mined, but you only have so much time, I guess.
Yeah, no, I'll take this win. I'm so desperate for a better than average episode. I'm just gonna claim a 5 when I can.
Yeah. What would you draw in this one?
I love the temple where all this stuff takes place, like Ra's al Ghul's lair, with like the Aztec sort of pyramid on a cliff. And all the action stuff inside where there's like pictures of himself everywhere, and Bruce and Terry kicking ass together. They do like side kicks at the same time, which is always a good moment. There's a lot here that I'd love to draw. How about you?
I do like the brain machine.
Yeah.
I think drawing the brain machine sequence would be pretty fun. I also think drawing the musical at the beginning would be kind of fun too.
Yeah, I had a feeling you were going to say the musical.
Yeah, I love drawing costumes that are a little bit more homemade looking than usual. Yeah. So something like that where you can show more of like the stitching on the side of the Batman costume. Or I really liked in this the detail that you can see his eyes, and the eye holes in the mask are big enough that you can see the beige of his skin, his skin color coming through. It's a nice touch.
Yeah, for sure. And what grade would you give this one?
I'm gonna give it a 5. It's a Batman Beyond 5. It's a Batman the Animated Series 4.
Yep. I'll go with that.
I hate to split hairs over that, but
I'd love to know the story of how they got Dini to come back. I'd love it if this wasn't the last time. I'd also love to know why he wasn't more involved from the get-go,
Yeah, he's probably just doing other stuff, I guess. You do however many episodes, 120 episodes of Batman or whatever, and then, we want to do something else, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's going to do it for Out of the Past. Take a quick break, come back with Speak No Evil.
No injection.
But this will get rid of your human DNA.
You won't remember what happened.
I want to remember. I've been given a gift. I'm strong as a gorilla, but smart as a human. I'm going to use it.
How?
There'll be more poachers. There'll always be more. But now they're going to have to deal with me.
Okay, Speak No Evil, written by Stan Berkowitz, directed by Dan Reba. In this one, Batman reluctantly agrees to aid a genetically enhanced gorilla in finding the poacher who kidnapped his mother. Before we get into this, I want to ask you, Sean, if you had to guess, how many gorilla-based characters does DC Comics have?
I'm going to go 4.
Over 50.
Oh, Jesus.
If you look them up on the DC fandom, there are 157 entries, but a lot of them are different Earth versions. So there's like Mala from the Doom Patrol TV series, Doom Patrol shorts, DCAU, New Earth, that kind of thing. But as far as just characters that exist, there are over 50, including Gorilla Grodd, Mala, Monsieur Mala, who I guess is from a cartoon, Ultra Humanite, which is one of my favorite names ever, because I don't even know what that means, but it sounds cool. And also Detective Chimp, who is technically not a gorilla, but he is a primate-based character.
Yeah, Chimp was the one that I was most aware of. So with all these gorillas floating around the universe, I wonder why has no one ever put them on a team, like a Justice League of gorillas? And
well, I don't know that they haven't, because there is a place called Gorilla City. Which,
that sounds like a good place for 50 gorillas.
Yeah, I mean, as advertised, it is a city of gorillas. And
is it in space or is it in the jungle?
Nope, it's in the jungle. It's on Earth. I think it's was it the Legends of Tomorrow that went there? They showed up on one of the live action DC shows in the past handful of years. Those shows I always appreciated how into the weeds of the weird stuff those shows got. So like Gorilla Grodd showed up on that show a couple times, which is fun. He's a gorilla who has mind control powers and can control your body. So, but
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say in this episode we have a gorilla who I don't know if he's named in the episode, but apparently his name is Fingers. Yes.
Yep, Fingers.
Who starts off, you think he's just a regular gorilla, but then turns out he has human DNA and he can talk. So that's fun.
There was another TAS episode where it started out where there was a stray gorilla in a coat, I remember. And Nightwing or Robin recognized him. It's just coming back to me now. It's interesting because this did feel familiar and I couldn't tell you why. I also I looked at the IMDb and Bob Kane is credited as a writer, but I don't know if Bob Kane is just credited as a writer on all the episodes.
I think he is. I think it's just characters created by,
All right. Because I kept looking for him and then Fingers, but all these fucking Bill Finger articles came up. And I thought, did Bob name this gorilla Fingers to fuck with Bill?
I mean, I would
look. I created a gorilla named after you, and you're still not getting a cut of it.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past him, but then he also would have had to create a gorilla character, which I don't think he would have done, but because he was didn't create
below
one
him
of his characters. But man, fucking Bob Kane.
Fucking Bob Kane. Yeah,
I think he was dead at this point. I'm just gonna go out, not even look it up, and say Bob Kane was dead by this point. Don't even care if it's true.
All right, you keep talking. I'm gonna look this up.
But yeah, it's another entry in DC's long history of gorilla-based characters. I actually really liked this one. I didn't think I was going to because I don't love the gorilla stuff generally, but I thought this one was really good. I thought once Finger starts talking and you see what's going on, that was really engaging, and all the stuff with the poacher I thought was cool and kind of morally gray in a way this show doesn't tend to really do too much. And I was kind of hoping he was just going to tear that dude in half at the end, but we didn't get to see that.
Yeah. So Bob Kane died in 98, so you are correct, sir.
Whew.
Yeah.
Got one.
I wonder if there's some kind of curse. Like, all the people that you falsely accused of being dead, what if they all die in the next 3 years? Would that point the finger back to you?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, if it did, I hope I learned to control this power and focus it more intently.
It's like the Black Mirror podcast problem where your computer is cursed, and whenever you falsely label someone as dead, they end up dying.
A good friend of mine for a long time, it weighed heavy on his conscience that he believed that he thought he killed Dave Thomas, the Wendy's guy, because he was at his friend's house and one of those commercials came on and he said, "Man, I fucking hate this guy. I wish he would die." And then the next day he died.
What is Dave Thomas? Oh, that guy, yeah. Such a friendly looking face.
I know. I don't know how you hate Dave Thomas, but
I know. Like him and the Dunkin' Donuts guy were the most likable. Although the Dunkin' Donuts guy was just an actor.
Yeah, he was always asking you to work, though. Time to make the buddy, it's early. We're trying to sleep, okay?
Right.
You make the donuts.
I'm going to put in Dave Thomas controversy and see what comes up. See what happens.
He liked to have sex with furniture.
notoriously hated redheads. Huh, I wouldn't have thought that.
Oh, what? That's not true. Wendy was his daughter.
Never mind, and the Jews. Of course, here we go.
I know all the Dave Thomas lore, Sean. You can't pull a fast one on me. I've watched the foods that made America.
So, it was such a weird... all right, so in a new interview, Wendy Thomas revealed that prior to his death, her dad, Dave Thomas, apologized for putting her name on the chain. He regrets naming it after his daughter. And she looks nothing like her iconic photo.
That's got to be pretty rough. Do you think there was a moment where it's like, we're naming the store after you? It's like, oh my God, do I get to be the mascot? No.
Wait a minute. So the way he describes it is, you know what? I'm sorry. I should have just named it after myself. Of course.
Okay.
You're an egomaniac like McDonald or whoever the hell. Like,
well, could you imagine the trademark lawsuit between Wendy's or Dave's
yeah,
and KFC? If he just put his face on there, then you'd have like two doughy smiling white guys pushing fast food on you.
So you were pushing me the food that built America.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious because they went from like the men that built America, which is like, all right, that's cool. Then the cars that built America, then the invention that built America. And every time they needed a new one, like their pitch was like a little weaker. Cut to like Domino's and Pizza Hut squaring off, deciding how to take down this 30-minute delivery fiasco.
It's so good.
Like men in the 70s loosening their ties, like, we took up all this money. Our friends gave us all these loans. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
It's so wild how they really massage history just to pin these two people off together when in reality I don't even know if they ever met, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, when they get into the stuff that's more modern, it feels like they're reaching a bit. But like the first season of that show where they get into Hershey and Heinz and all these like early like late 80s Kellogg, all those companies, that stuff is real interesting because all of those guys were complete psychopaths.
Right.
Like Hershey built his entire factory before he figured out how to make chocolate, which is insane.
Yeah. So was it true that Colonel Sanders fought a duel?
I don't know. Did you watch the show?
I remember one episode where
in the opening credits, there's a great shot of Colonel Sanders cocking a shotgun. So
that was what got... Yeah. Okay, so I think this is true. It's at thedailymeal.com, which is a legitimate newspaper of renown.
Sounds
so I remember season 1, and I'm like, fucking Colonel Sanders, like, how good can this be? And I'm like ready to shut it off. And suddenly he's getting into a gunfight over his brand. And I'm like, oh, shit, maybe there is some stuff here. But after that gunfight, it didn't seem like the stakes are really that high for the rest of these fast food chains.
I mean, yeah, it kind of all goes downhill from there, I guess. It doesn't get much more exciting than a gunfight over fried chicken.
So, yeah, he Kentucky Colonel Heisman, and he knew Walt Disney, Muhammad Ali. Okay, this guy got around. He falsified his date or birth records to enlist in the army. That's always pretty ballsy. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, it seems, just skimming the headlines here, it seemed like that is true. And someone shot at him, and he returned fire, shooting them in the shoulder.
Nice. Yeah. The fun of that show is how much drama they put onto the least dramatic things possible. Like Chet Kellogg or whatever his name is creating cornflakes. They give the same narrative, dramatic boost and cinematic filming style as they do the way that they cover like World War II on that channel, which is like that's where the fun of that show comes from.
Nobody can agree on who pulled their gun first, but this guy Gibson was killed after being shot multiple times. Sanders returned fire, striking Stewart in the... All right, so there's 3 people here. All right, I should have done more research, but yeah, apparently he was involved in a gunfight in the 1940s when that shit was still kind of okay, I guess.
Deep Kentucky in the 40s. I'm sure there are a lot of things going on that are not acceptable anymore.
As long as there was a black person on the other end, then it was kind of, hand-waved.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's intense. You never know where these episodes are going to go, these podcasts that you and I do.
Nope. Every time Ray Kroc shows up on that show, I love it. I love the guy they get to play Ray Kroc. Because there's, I don't know if I've said this, if we've talked about this before, but I feel like there's one moment that must be how they cast these actors. and the instruction, the acting direction is, all right, you've just taken a bite of your competitor's food, and you are both overcome with how good it tastes and mad at the same time.
Yeah, no, that's a great. Yeah, I'd love to be there to see what that looks like when they're coaching the actor like that.
And that guy, the guy who plays Ray Kroc for McDonald's, is the best at it. Every time he comes in and he has like a bite of a Whopper for the first time, he just goes through this amazing wordless acting where he's like, "This is amazing, but I hate it so much."
Yeah, it's funny that whole series of The Blank That Built America. It's always these actors who have two lines, or you have to take your bourbon, look outside your oak window palace, and you like oak glass, whatever, and survey your empire like your Standard Oil or something. Like, they really try to make it like cigar smoking type of environment. You don't really have to learn that much. You just have to have. You don't have to learn any lines. You just have to have the right sort of face and that 1,000-yard stare as you can sense a competitor. You know,
I want to be on it so bad. I so badly want to be an actor on that show.
Do you think these guys are full-time actors? I'm going to guess no.
I think they're trying to be. I don't know if they're doing it successfully, but...
Well, the guy that plays Kroc, he knows that he could have had a better career, and he's just trying to make up for lost time.
Maybe he started late. I don't know. Maybe he was like, let's say 40 when he decided he wanted to be an actor and ended up on that show. I can identify with that. Maybe it's in the future for me. Maybe when they do the... I don't know, the garden hoses that made America. I can be garden hose magnate Earl Rubber.
Yeah. I mean, do you think that they cast all of them at the same time? Like, look, we need a bunch of white dudes you're gonna be in the 1890s or the 70s, 60s, whatever. We just need like fast food looking young American, and then they sort it out later.
I have to imagine they're flying by the seat of their pants on that show, and it's like, I'm sorry, we forgot to cast Anthony Reeses. Let's get him now.
Yeah, no, I bet they're like, we'll do one season of this food show, but we all know this isn't going to last, right? And then here they are like 5 seasons later, and they're like, I cannot believe people can't get enough of this shit.
Yeah.
There must be some kind of agent that has focused in on them and has all the answers they need. Like, she's an old Jewish representative from New York, of course. She's like, anytime you need, you call me on a Sunday, you call me on a Saturday, I will get you Ray Kroc. I will get you the donuts guy. Like, I got everything you need. Like, she has claimed this as her stake, and she's not letting anyone else touch this because this is her retirement.
That's what I want. If they do, if they've done the donuts one, if they haven't done donuts yet, I want to be Winston Honeydew, the originator of Honeydew Donuts.
Yeah. So this lady, in my mind, she's always smoking a cigar. They're they're shooting the show, and they realize, oh shit, we need the donut guy. And suddenly she's standing there with like 10 different white guys, all angry, like her bodyguards, who all want to be cast. And one guy's like, I'll do it. I'll be the donut guy. She's like, step back. We need to talk about his contract. You fucked me over on Ray Kroc, and I'm not going to forget it.
I could believe that.
Nice studio. A shame if something happened to it. She like puts her cigar out on some guy's knee.
I could believe that, but I could also believe this is the kind of production where at least once there's some story of like a PA being pulled in to play somebody because they didn't have anyone.
Yo, 100%. Actually, I want to see the show The Men That Made America.
That would be pretty good.
Yeah. I know at this point, too, how come, don't they feel guilty that they haven't done Women That Made America at this point?
They, they should. They tend to always throw them in on, like, who is it? The woman who owned Post cereal, I think, was a big part of season 1. But yeah, there's probably more they could delve into as far as
Come on. Yeah. Like, this is me suggesting it. At this point, like, I know that 90% of the viewers on the History Channel are dudes, but at this point, like, you're right. They throw in a female Post CEO every now and then, and they almost look at the camera like, see? Don't get mad. Ladies can do this, too.
Yeah. Well, I guess I won't be on that season, but...
Yeah. Do you think it's shot in L.A. or in the Midwest somewhere?
Ooh, that's a
Georgia.
That's a great question. Georgia,
because they got
maybe.
a lot of good Midwestern shots. Like, it doesn't look like it was shot in L.A., you know?
I would be...
And I know Georgia is such a good stand-in for so many places in the U.S., you know?
Yeah, if it was 15 years ago, I'd say definitely Canada. But I honestly don't know anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I want to see you on this show, too, now.
I just got to find the right obscure person from history to play without any lines and just stare off into the distance and be mad that someone made a better donut than me.
What if they did the men that made superhero movies? And you start, I was going to say in the 70s with Richard Donner. Mm-hmm. And you get to him and you have this young gothy upstart kid named Tim Burton. And you're like, oh, he's going to do Batman? Fuck that. Mm-hmm. You know, like, you need to have the same rooms, shoot it in the Midwest. It can even take place in McDonald's, whatever. Like, I would love to see the men, like Robert Downey Jr., that'll never fly. Okay, whatever. Marvel doesn't think we can catch up. We'll see about that. You know what I mean? You're like, you got to have all those scenes.
See the first moment when Warner Brothers sees the first Iron Man movie and then gets so mad about it because it's so good, but they also hate that they beat him to the punch.
Exactly.
And then Marvel watches Superman versus Batman, and they go, "We don't have anything to worry about, guys. Don't worry."
I know. Or DC's finally like, all right, we got no choice. We got to call in the big guns. Cut to Michael Keaton sitting in his Batman mansion, and suddenly the bat signal comes on, and he's turned slowly into the blue light.
And then he says, "It will take a lot of money."
Oh man! Hey, Knox, that new movie he's in and directed, fucking amazing.
Is he really?
Knox Goes Away. Is that what it's called?
I think so. Something like that,
Yeah. He's a hitman who has, not amnesia, but he's starting to get old and forget things. Thank you. Dementia. Yeah. He has, like, fast-track dementia, and it's about him tying up loose ends with his son, and it's really good. And, I don't know if Michael Keaton's directed before, but holy shit, was this a good movie.
Yeah, I got to check that out. I remember seeing the trailer for that, and it looked really cool. And then I don't know if it ever really came out in theaters or not.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's on HBO Max for free.
Nice.
Or whatever, yeah.
Anyway, back to Batman Beyond. What did you think about this episode?
I'm a sucker. I like when they go to the jungle or to the forest in the animated series. I'm always down for animal rights or environmental stuff. Even when it's Fern Gully. You know, I always appreciated that attempt. It's nice when they try to be responsible like that. And, you know, I really like drawing greenery. So for my scene, I think it'd be cool to draw when they drop the monkey off back in the jungle and stuff. Mm-hmm. I thought this was really good. Like, I'm going to go a 4 on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go a 4. So ironically,
yep.
I'm going to go a 4 on this, but I think that this episode actually avoids the Batman Beyond traps better than the last one did.
Oh, how so?
I feel like this one it felt more narratively fully formed. Like, I didn't totally feel like that it was missing a middle act or anything, because it laid stuff out so well, so cleanly, where it's like you get the gorilla, nobody knows what's going on with the gorilla, then they introduce the poacher guy, then it turns out the gorilla can talk, and then you get some backstory on the gorilla and how his mother was taken, and he and his mother were taken and separated, and then they go after it. Like, so I didn't find myself thinking, man, I wish I had more time with the gorilla in the city or something, you know? Like, I felt like they did everything they needed to do to tell the story that they were telling, and I thought it all worked. And even the ending, which this show is usually the endings feel very abrupt. I really like the ending of this one, where they bring him back and they're gonna turn him back into a gorilla, and he's like, "No, I want to remain super smart so I can fight crime in the jungle.
I want to beat the shit out of poachers or really anybody who's not a gorilla."
And then when Terry's like, "Oh, I hope he doesn't come after us," and Batman's like, "No, we're pretty much on the same page. I think he's gonna be fine." I thought it was a great ending.
Yeah, no, that's funny. It's funny, in both of these episodes, there's a lot of randos who are privy to Batman's secret identity, and they just sort of let it go.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you'd think, you know, like, it's a big deal that Ra's al Ghul knows that he's Bruce Wayne, but now, like, everybody apparently who works for Talia knows? Or maybe they don't know who Bruce Wayne is. I don't know.
I mean, it could have used one line in there where Terry's like, these people all know our secret identities. And Bruce is like, it's the League of Assassins, and you know, if anyone knows how to keep a secret, blah 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 blah.
What have they ever done a Batman story where everybody just knows that it's Bruce Wayne, but nobody talks about it? So like you got Bruce who's like, oh, I can't reveal my secret identity, and Jim Gordon's like, yep, definitely need to hang on to that, so we all know that, I don't know, that Bruce Wayne isn't Batman, or could be anybody really. Yeah, where does he get all these expensive toys? Well, clearly it's Bruce Wayne. It's clearly Bruce Wayne.
Yep. Or like he shows up and his mask isn't even on all the way, and they're like, whatever, we need you to look at these clues.
I can't tell you who I am, because if they knew, if you knew who I was, then they would come after you. And it's like, well, they're already coming after me.
Like, he parked the Batmobile in Bruce Wayne's parking spot. How dumb does this guy think we are?
He hung the Wayne Industries parking pass on the mirror.
And Bruce Wayne always does this weird secret buddy handshake, but Batman does the exact same one.
And they sound identical.
Oh, man, yeah.
There's years ago when The Rock was on Saturday Night, I think it was The Rock, was on Saturday Night Live. They did a skit where he was playing Clark Kent, Superman, and that was the whole point of the bit, is that he was pretending not to be Superman, but everybody who worked at the Daily Planet knew it was him.
That's pretty good.
And so he was wearing like a suit that was too tight, and so underneath the tie and the jacket, you could see the bits of the blue and the red poking out.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, Clark.
That's pretty good.
Yep, you're definitely a weakling and can't open that pickle jar.
Politics have exploded lately with, you know, Biden stepping down, Trump getting shot, all the other stuff happening. And I was definitely hitting the I think Biden's going to step down drum before anybody, and I'm happy to say that I was right. But before that happened, I was really hoping that The Rock would throw his hat into the ring, or Taylor Swift, or somebody just to fuck things up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think that would have worked very well.
I mean, how would they stop him, though? If The Rock or Taylor Swift or somebody of that caliber just launched the thing, the independent party, or claimed they were a Democrat, how the hell would they stop that tide, that wave from hitting them, you know?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like T Swift's people, there's no way Democrats, like, we have to call T Swift and bring her in. Like, we have no choice. Like, her fucking TikTok joke is going viral, and now we need to include her. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I wonder if Taylor Swift specifically probably has more power as she is now than she would if she was president of the United States.
I know, yeah. No, this is me, like, fan casting a movie plot, basically. I didn't think it was actually going to happen. Although I assume The Rock does have ambitions at some point to do that.
Yeah, I don't think I would vote for The Rock. I mean, I guess if I had to choose between The Rock and Donald Trump, I'd vote for The Rock. But I don't know. The Rock is just like, he's such a politician already, it feels like, that I don't know. He kind of rubs me the wrong way outside of the movies he's in.
It's funny. I think he was getting a free pass and was beloved universally until the Black Adam stuff. And then you saw a side of him where people were like, oh, yeah, he is like a competitive politician. Yeah,
he's just too clean. Like he's like, his whole image is just so buffed down to be, you know, appeal to the most number of people possible, that it's just that I don't feel like there's a lot that's still what's the word I'm looking for? Authentic about the way he presents himself. It comes out every now and then. Like when he was his involvement in WrestleMania this past year, he kind of threw all that stuff off for a while and he went completely heel. And it was a lot of fun. And I never thought that he would do anything like that ever again. But I don't know.
Do you think he's a guy that I've heard you use this phrase before. He doesn't know how to turn it off. Is he one of those guys?
You know, I don't know. It feels like he might be, but I'm not sure.
Can you define that when you use that phrase? Like, what exactly you mean?
The best example that I can do, this is kind of a weird esoteric example, but like, if you have two comedians, right? You've got Robin Williams and you've got Mel Brooks. If you're interviewing Mel Brooks isn't just doing bits the whole time. He knows how to just like turn it off and give an interview. whereas Robin Williams is doing bits the entire time, and so he's like constantly on. And that's the best way I can describe it, where it's like there's no off switch.
That's good. Like people. Yeah, like being authentic, I think it's very important, and switching it off. People love that you can fucking take a break and relax and just give a decent interview. But when you're always on, like Robin Williams, I could tell it was annoying, and it sort of drove people crazy. But it also made people feel bad for him, that he felt like he had to always keep it on. You know?
Yeah, I guess it's really person to person whether or not the on all the time personality is authentic. You know, but I think it always kind of comes off as it's some sort of deflecting mechanism. But
yeah, interesting. Hey, so I got to correct a factoid that we got wrong.
Okay.
Timothy Dalton did do a animated voice in Toy Story 3.
Oh, did he really?
He was the voice of Mr. Pricklepants.
Of course.
Yeah,
fan favorite character,
which was his nickname in college.
You know, he roomed with George Lazenby in college. All right, we need to stop that because I don't need this in joke ruining new listeners.
Man, you know, it took me until Spectre before I realized I don't like James Bond movies. I thought I did because I thought I liked Timothy Dalton's 2 movies in the late '80s. Because I love the car stuff, and I don't know. I think I was more of a Jason Bourne guy only with the first movie, and then Jason Bourne got really into shaky cam, and I was like, "Fuck this!" Like, how many Blackstones can be out there, or whatever the shady organization's called? But then the third option you have now is like, all right, so if you're gonna get into like male lead action flicks, we're talking James Bond, we're talking Jason Bourne, maybe like. What's the Liam Neeson one?
Taken,
or Equalizer, or I don't know. There's smaller and smaller. John Wick would be another big one.
Mission Impossible.
Yep, Mission Impossible. Oh, good. Okay, so out of James Bond, Jason Bourne, Mission Impossible, and John Wick, which one speaks to you the most, Clay?
I think Mission Impossible probably is the most consistent. Would I take if I heard there was a new movie of those franchises coming out? Which one would I would probably say Mission Impossible.
Okay, wow, surprised.
Yeah, I mean I like James Bond movies, but they are. I think that the thing that's fun about James Bond movies is that there's enough of them that you don't have to like them all, and you can kind of pick and choose. So
yeah,
but
I do like GoldenEye and a few. To be honest.
Yeah, like I enjoyed the Daniel Craig Bond stuff. Like I think Casino Royale is the best Bond movie that was ever made. But I think everything that came after that was pretty hit or miss.
Right.
Whereas anytime I've gone to a Mission Impossible movie, I feel like I've gotten my money's worth. I thought that I was getting that way with the Fast and Furious franchise, but then they really kind of jumped the shark into space on that franchise, and the last few have not really been doing it for me.
No, yeah. If I was in charge of Fast and Furious, I would go low budget and try to capture the magic of the original some way. I would even like film it. I would brag there's no CGI. I would do kind of marketing stuff like that and see what you could get away with.
If I was in charge of the Fast and Furious franchise, I would stop making the movies.
It's funny, they were sort of the victim of their own success because it was sort of dwindling until 5, right?
Yep.
And you and I, we liked 5 for what it was, which was basically a mask movie.
Yes,
right?
Yeah.
And then 5 kind of skidded along for 6 and 7 were okay, and then it started to go into space.
The one that got me, I don't know if it was, I think it might have been 5. I can't remember if it was the first Rock one, but when the Rock. At a certain point in that movie, he's got a giant cast on his arm until the moment that they need him, and he flexes his way out of the cast.
Hell yeah, dog.
That's
how muscles work, Clay.
Yeah, that was excellent. That was the high point of that franchise for me.
So I went to get my yearly physical, and the doctor pulled out one of those things to wrap around your arm to take your blood pressure, right? And I only told my wife this. The one he used.
You're telling everybody now.
I know. The one that he used was too small, and I was like, yeah, that's right. And I don't know if he accidentally grabbed a child's one or a standard adult, or if my arms are so huge now. And that's not the case. I'm not The Rock. But now that you mentioned that, like, I should have just flexed my way and burst over and be like, blood pressure's good, doc, and just grabbed my coat and walked out.
I used to have a similar point of pride when I was younger. They used to have to use the thigh cuff on my arm instead. Yep. But I think that was because I was at a child's doctor's office. But they don't do that anymore. And every time they don't go, oh shit, I got to get the bigger one, I feel a little bit inside of me dies.
Well, so you, Clay, have got tremendously large calves. You could never ever wear.
That's why they don't take my blood pressure in my lower leg.
Like, you could never wear tapered jeans or tight rolled jeans. Thank God you weren't a child in the 80s.
I can barely wear regular jeans. Like, people, like roll them up to their knee. I can't do that because they don't come off if I do that.
Your Rock breaking the cast moment has to deal with your thighs. Your calves somehow. Maybe your thighs too. I don't know.
Sure, why not? Let's do it all. Put me in a full body cast. We'll see which part gets out first.
But everyone listening to this, when you go up to see Clay in person, you have to remark on how big his calves are.
Please do,
because he loves hearing it.
Yeah. Although, I mean, I'm gonna if you just do it at the table, I'm gonna know you're full of shit. But if you see me walking around and you are honestly taken aback by it,
yeah,
please stop me and say so.
Oh man!
So what'd you think of the poacher with the robot eye?
Oh yeah, I've been to talk about him. For Last Driver, I've got one of the bad guys is going to be a spin on Dave Mustaine, the lead singer of Megadeth, nice. And he's a outlaw kind of racist driver. And you told me I should probably tech him up more a bit, so I thought about giving him like a classic '90s eye goggle.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So I was looking at this character like, it's like. I thought he would have an Australian voice when the actor started talking.
I thought it was I tried to place the voice. I thought it was a voice I knew, but it's not an actor that I had ever heard of.
Yeah.
His name was
They should have got the guy
Rainer Schoen, like a German guy.
All right. The actor from Tango and Cash who had the ponytail and they hung him outside the building to scare him.
Oh yeah. The
that guy. That's who I think should have voiced
with the Australian accent?
Yeah. Shit. Like, he'll pop up in a lot of action shit every
I can't remember what that guy's name. I think it's Brian something. Before you hit enter, I know you're looking him up.
Yep.
He is dead. Right?
Hold on. No. Not Terry Hatcher, not Jack. Oh, I forgot Jack Palance is in that. Brian James is died in 1990.
Yeah. Woo!
All right, Clay. I think you got it back. I think you got whatever curse you had.
In the words of Jack Nicholson in Batman 1989, I'm glad he's dead.
So his top 4 hits on IMDb are Blade Runner, of course. Yep. Fifth Element. All right. Striking Distance.
Okay.
A Bruce Willis movie. And Another 48 Hours. Bummer. I thought Tango and Cash would be up there, but no.
No, they just put the good movies up there?
He did do a Superman voice in the Superman video game in 1999.
Oh, God. Man, that was... Did you ever play that game?
Was that the one that everyone hated?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the notoriously worst game on Nintendo whatever
N64.
Platform.
I think that was the video game that got me to move away from video games. Because that was... I was big into N64. Like, that was... I had a Sega... But I didn't have anything else after that until N64 came out, and I got that, and I loved the games, the early games, and then I saw there was a Superman game coming out. I'm like, excellent, I'm going to save my money so I can buy this Superman video game. And I did that, and I played it, and it was bad, and I think that might have been the last video game I bought for about 20 years.
So that's the one with the hoops that you're flying through.
Yes.
All right, you're looking at Superman's, the bottom of his feet and his ass as he's flying through hoops. Mm-hmm. Oof, yeah, that's a rough one.
And like, if you're walking around Metropolis at any given time, there's like one other person on the street or like in a building, and they were trying to do like a open world thing, but they didn't have the technology. So you're flying around Metropolis, and Metropolis is in this like constant fog where you can only see like 200 yards in front of you because the rest of it had to render. It was just awful.
Yeah. Man, so it's funny. The game that I stopped playing, I played Metal Gear Solid in the mid to late 90s. I went to college. I couldn't afford video games. I think I played driving games on my friend's PlayStation. Mm-hmm. But the game that got me back in was Halo. But then I fell out of it again for another 10 years. So now I don't even like playing super involved games. I mostly go for like retro pixel game, stuff that's easy to step away from.
Yeah.
Like it's rare for me to play Assassin's Creed or Red Dead, which I know you love. I respect the hell out of them, but my brain, I don't know. I just got too much to do, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I go back and forth on those ones. Like I've been waiting a long time to play Red Dead Redemption 2, and I finally loaded it up, and I think I've played maybe 2 or 3 hours of it, just because it is so involved. Like I need to get the bug for it, and the stuff I've been playing lately is stuff that you can kind of jump into and jump out of relatively easily.
I've been waiting to pull the trigger on Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh, yeah.
Because Breath of the Wild sucked me in for sure, and I thought I would do Tears to reward myself when Zorro was done, but I've just sort of moved on to my next books.
No time for rewards.
No time for fun. Yeah. Man, it's funny. All these Superman photos popped up of the new guy that I know you really like. Do you like the behind the scenes photos of the new James Gunn stuff? Yeah,
I mean it looks fine. I'm gonna I reserve judgment until I see it in action, because that stuff is always can be. Did you hear the big news that Robert Downey Jr. is playing Dr. Doom?
Yeah,
That's another one where I'm like, I don't understand it, but okay, let's see what happens.
Yeah. Again, when they make the Men That Made Superhero Movies documentary, the guy who gets to play Robert Downey Jr. is definitely going to be a good actor.
Unlike the other roles in this show, we need you to talk. So
we need you to really bring your A game.
Yeah.
I decided not to comment on DC movie stuff anymore, just because I don't know. I'm going to this event and James Gunn might be there, and I don't want him listening to my podcast. Or I'm super supportive and I'm excited by what's coming, but I just don't want to put my foot in my mouth.
Fair.
With people I might bump into in the next few years.
So you just want to tee me up to do it instead?
Yeah, I'll just say, oh, that was my buddy Clay. He's a fucking asshole. Who cares what he thinks?
Yeah.
Have you heard him talk about Timothy Dalton?
You should see the suit. It looks terrible.
There's this really long rant he went on once about hentai. You really fucked up.
That doesn't look like Guy Gardner. Guy Gardner got orange hair.
You know what? I miss that we don't get to do the brand manager in this series as much.
That's the biggest loss to Batman Beyond is the brand manager.
I feel like it's our fault.
Franchise
I feel like
of storefronts.
Yeah. I feel like maybe you and I should have been looking harder to put that stuff in there,
Yeah, I mean, I guess the Royal Flush Gang needs to get their card-based clothing somewhere.
I got old casino for you. I don't know what else you want. I'm retired.
Does Brandon keep up with technology? Like, does he have? He's like, listen, there's only. I know what you're looking for. You need a full house, right? But you only got 3 members. You need a 4th member. Or is there 5? Is there 5 cards? You got 4 members. I think there is. You need a 5th. I got a giant robot. We'll paint that bitch white. Put an ace on its chest. Give you a good deal.
I wish I had Jokers, but the gang took everything I had.
It's harder and harder to get Joker stuff these days.
What if there was a young upstart that put him out of business, and the brand manager decided just to hang it up and call it quits? But with the reappearance of a younger Batman, there's a need for brand managing, and the guy who beat him has to come to him hat in hand and go, I feel like we got to combine forces and work together. With your brains, your connections, and my, whatever, I think you and I could run this town.
See, what the brand manager did is when he knew Batman was getting old, because he's getting old too, and he's like, well, Batman, he got to be getting old too. So he sells the upstart the license to the Batman, right?
Yep.
For a big chunk of change. And then the upstart takes a total bath on it because Batman is gone for 15 years. And so nobody wants Batman stuff. And so the brand manager buys it back pennies on the dollar. And then Terry shows up and brand manager puts the other guy out of business.
Right. That's the long game.
Yeah.
The brand manager was only pretending. Like, this is the second act, basically. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah. There we go.
Yep. Man, do you think Batman would ever confront the brand manager
and ask for like a royalties check or something?
Well,
see, that's the thing, because brand manager he runs a very top of the line, above board business.
You've got nothing on me, and you know it.
Yeah, everything you
the
look.
thing
I filed the documents I got to file.
Yeah,
I own everything I got to own. It's just a coincidence. All the locations I own get destroyed by these supervillains.
You really want to play the game of who's worth for Gotham? I'm not like hiring underage children to work in my factories like you.
So
are
I got a giant typewriter in the back. What's it to you?
I feel like Batman would want to take him down, but he just can't get to this guy. But that was always our plan, right?
Yeah, I would like to think that Bruce Wayne kind of appreciates the grift. As the businessman side of Bruce Wayne is like, I actually have to kind of applaud you for this. This is very smart.
I should have
very
thought
well
of
for
this,
yourself.
If Bruce Wayne owned the franchise on Batman, kind of a flag.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yep.
What if he tried to frame the brand manager and saying, look, this guy owns the rights to Batman. He definitely knows who Batman is, and that was the way he used to take him. That was what he did to take him down. Like trial by public, whatever that's called.
Oh, sure. Yeah, public shaming.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like Bruce could. There's got to be something along the way that would be infringing on Wayne trademarks somewhere that he could probably get him on. Although I feel like if Batman ever confronted the brand manager, the first thing the brand manager would say was, "You got any more suits coming out? Because I got a new I would like to make some new shirts. You got a new symbol or something?
Like, I'll trade you. You show me what your new suit looks like, so I can get a start on manufacturing. I need to buy the right type of cloth, the right kind of paint, the right kind of Kevlar.
The right kind is, of course, cheap.
Yeah,
I got to call my shirt guy.
Yeah, you do one for you, one for me. I'll do one for you, type of thing.
If you ever need a keychain made with that logo on it, you come to me.
I just picture Batman going to him in his giant dark warehouse, like the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark, and there's just a desk in the middle under a single spotlight with the brand manager smoking a giant cigar, and Batman realizes, you got nothing on me, and as he walks away, the brand manager is just laughing, like the Penguin played by Colin, whatever his last name is. Thank you. Yeah, honestly, Colin Farrell's Penguin is very brand manager-y.
He does. He kind of has a brand manager voice, yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to think that in that big confrontation, once Batman finally walks away, brand manager yells at him. He goes, "One more thing before you go. What happened to Robin? Is he coming back? Because I got boxes of shirts. I can't move. So if he's not coming back, you got to tell me."
I got tons of bird costumes. You don't have to pick Robin the whole time.
Anyway. Oh, speaking of branding, how does it feel to have a gigantic toy made out of your Batmobile?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the White Knight McFarlane toy came out. They're kind enough to send me a free copy, which is cool. I don't always get those. Nice. Yeah, man, I fucking love this thing. I was stunned by how good it came out. Even the car nerd in me is having a hard time finding fault with it.
That's the biggest thing I was surprised by, is that it being a vehicle, you didn't have more nitpicks on it.
I mean, I have two, but it doesn't matter. I mean, no one's going to care about me, and I appreciate the work that Todd did.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I got one as well. I had to pay for mine because I'm not a superstar. And I have literally one surface in my house that I can put it on. So
yeah,
it's a little bit unwieldy, but
Yeah, it's funny, they didn't know. So these things poking out of the top to the arms to reach forward, you know what I mean? there's their rear view mirrors. Like in the 60s, cars used to have rear view mirrors way out in front on the hood, basically. And I don't think that they knew what those were. Even reviews of it are like, what are these things? Were they just like there to stop the fire from hitting the windshield? And blah, blah, blah. And I mean, I'd love to get involved next time anyone makes anything and have notes. And I keep telling people, like, I'm not going to give you crazy notes. I'm very easy to work with. But a few little tweaks, I think this thing could have been like 5% better. And that's not directed at this Batmobile. That's just in general.
Sure.
Statues and stuff like that. But yeah, like when people are like, when they don't know what the rear view mirrors are, it kills me because I'm like, you couldn't have made a slightly different shape to make it clear what they were, or included like reflective stickers in there that the person could put on. Come on. And even on the box art on the back, you could tell they didn't know where the flames are supposed to come out of.
Oh, really?
It looks like two machine guns firing forward. They're not near the exhaust pipes on the side at all.
Right.
Again, like if you just sent that to me, like 2-minute fix. Come on,
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I did find myself, I was looking at it, and I think I know the answer to this, so you're going to have to refresh my memory to see if I'm right here. But I was looking at it, and all of a sudden I thought, how the hell does this turn? Is it
Yes.
the split wheels, like kind of like do like a tilt thing? Is that what it is?
Yes,
Okay.
they lean. Yeah.
Is that
lean,
something that in real world physics would actually work, or is that just comic book
Yeah.
physics?
If you look up a Honda motorcycle, just put in Honda motorcycle lean wheels, and you'll see one of these things. And this isn't the first. I didn't invent this design. These things exist, and they're really cool. And I knew when I wanted to do the split wheels thing to have the gun in the middle, that means you wouldn't have traditional turning. You would have the whole thing lean. But the nice thing is if you leaned enough, I mean, it would scratch your rims. But technically, that Batmobile could do a 360 in place. You know what I mean?
Oh, interesting. Okay, so is it like it's like this Honda with the 4 wheels on it?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, whenever someone asks me, I always wish I just had this footage pulled up. But yeah, no, people are like, "Oh, Sean's so good at cars, you didn't know this." I'm like, "No, I knew it. I just, I need to be here for me to explain it to you. Like, trust me, I get it."
Well, that's very
Yeah,
cool.
I can't find it.
I was just gonna say it's very cool that they made it big enough to fit the figures in, because those figures are not small. But
yeah, the other complaint that I see people online is it isn't big enough to fit 2 people in the cockpit.
Yeah, whatever.
But then that thing would have had to have been massive.
Yeah, it would have been absolutely huge.
Yeah. And there is a flaw in the design that I never did pick up on until recently. Is Batman's feet would have to go into the base of the engine.
Yes.
Yeah, either that engine is built diagonally, or there's Batman's just sitting in there Indian style.
Maybe he sits cross-legged. Easier for a jumping out on ejection.
Oh, isn't? I suppose Indian style isn't a thing you should say anymore, right?
Yeah, I think that's probably uncouth these days.
Yeah, my bad. And I'm doing 2 books with Native Americans. I guess I should get that shit right.
We may as well round this one out. What would you draw in?
Oh, jungle and the.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, them dropping off the jungle at the end.
I would draw the gorilla hanging on the bottom of the flying cop car. I don't know why that
nice.
image just really tickled me to see when. They're like, whoa, what was that? He's like, I don't know, probably an updraft. And then the camera tilts down, and there's a giant gorilla using the cop car like a hang glider, basically.
Yeah.
I also really loved that the
wild.
the taxi driver didn't blink when the giant gorilla showed up. He just thought it was a guy in a suit.
Yeah. It's funny because you think the driver's going to start screaming and make a left turn. But that joke, it takes a bit to play out. And he finally does say, like, it must be hot in there. And the gorilla has a ready response. Love it.
Yeah, so I'm going to give this one a 4. What did you say you were going to give this?
Yeah, I'll go 4.
4? All right, cool. I think it's going to do it for Speak No Evil and Out of the Past. So the next episodes we're doing are a 2-parter called The Call, which is going to be fun because it's Superman shows up and there's some Justice League shenanigans going on. So there are odd number of episodes in this season, and we have two-parters with a single episode between it. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the Call two-parter. Then after that, we're going to do Betrayal and Countdown, and then we're going to do the Curse of the Cobra two-parter. But we'll get to that in a couple weeks. So yeah, I think that's going to do it for us. If you want to help support the show, head over to patreon.com/The Penske File, where got a whole bunch of other stuff going on. I'm on my Rotten Horror Picture Show podcast. We're going through the Halloween franchise, which is a lot of ups and downs there, so it's been fun. But yeah, so check that out, and thank you guys for listening. Thank you, Sean.
Thanks, man. Always good to be here.
Yeah, and we'll see you next time.